Okay, but it's still, yeah, it's too tall. Okay, and then I'm gonna share the link. How do you pin it? Right, he showed me here. Pin message. All right, should we say this is the link to the slideshow? I would say above is the link. I see above. Think about it, like this. Yeah, that would be great. So we did
And
it.
you might want to pin that as well.
It is. I think it is. Oh no, you're right. No, I cannot
Yeah,
do that. Okay. Do you think it looks okay?
It.
Move it up a little.
Move it up
Just for the screen projector.
like this.
Just like that.
Okay. Okay. All right. It's live, so should be good now, right?
Yeah, and see, even if you put the
Do you guys
podium
want to
down,
check
you
on
can see them.
if it's on your, if it sounds? Can you see if it's on?
Turn the volume down.
What's it called?
And it's on the Jamie Hart School YouTube channel.
Oh, I guess I follow y'all.
So it's good.
I didn't realize I followed you all.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's showing us. So
I think I might scooch it that way. Yeah.
Just you can replace the pin one with the other one because the pin one's just to Google.
Okay, so
So just pin the one you just message. Oh no, the one on top. No, I'll just.
but then we unpin it. We want to keep it pinned, right?
But for me, it only goes.
Mine's the top.
Yeah, mine's top too. I mean, that's what I see there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, yeah, and then I click it and then we pop up.
Even the top one?
So it's working?
Oh, it doesn't show the full length. Oh, so yeah, it's working. Sorry.
I'm trying to set up the
Does it scroll or am I crazy? Do you just see that? Or does it scroll?
It doesn't automatically, but it should if you just click it.
So it's working?
Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Because
Alright.
it's not in present mode. So
How many people are on there already? Can you see that? I could look it up.
10.
Okay, good. Alright, not too many yet.
So this one is an auto repeat, but the one on here you have to click through.
Okay, but that's fine, I think.
Yeah,
That's how
That's just
normal.
because it's not.
Yeah,
It's not a PowerPoint.
Right.
So.
Yeah. Okay, and it looks fine the way it is right now.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, I'll keep an eye on it.
Yeah, and even if you if you have to lower the thing, you'll see that's how Dave would be standing. So you'll
Okay.
see the waist up.
Okay.
So I think that looks good.
Okay. All right.
That's backwards.
Yeah, I know. That's the thing that is problematic.
You could switch.
I can mirror maybe?
No, there's no camera on the other side. No worries.
Let me.
There's
I
a
think
way
you
to
can-
mirroring, right?
Yeah.
How do you do that? Well, we cannot. We're in the middle of the stream now.
I think that's fine.
I think there is edit. You can mirror something.
Because I know on your phone you can switch it. So you
I know, but you cannot
you
do
look.
that. That's why it is kind of tricky to do it on the computer.
Yeah, weird. You could allow all comments.
Yeah,
Maybe.
yeah. That's why I didn't do it.
No, maybe not.
Yeah, so that's. I don't know. There's no
It
way,
should
right?
be fine.
Yeah. Honestly, since I don't think you can do it via
No.
YouTube, it might just have to be a setting under the Mac.
Oh,
Yeah,
And I don't know if we'll mess it up via.
Yeah.
Since it's already
I think it'll be fine because people should just be able to click
Yeah, they can
that.
click it.
yeah. Okay. It's all on. It's slideshow. Okay.
It's mostly the speaker I think we're
Yeah.
focusing on.
Okay.
And then you could probably just keep the live stream going the whole time.
Yeah.
If you
That's.
want.
Yeah. We're good now. So we'll just keep it as it is now. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna say goodbye. Thank you so much. Can you keep an eye on it a little bit?
Yeah, that's fine.
I appreciate it.
Yes. That's okay. Just find it out.
Thank you, everyone. We're going to go ahead and get started. Thank you for joining us this evening in person and also online. Just a few quick housekeeping announcements. If you need restrooms, they're out of the door and to the right. There's also some restrooms on this floor on the other side behind the staircase. It looks like most of you got the program. If you have not, there's a letter outside the door here that you'll want to pick up that Emeka wrote to his students. And also out there, if you haven't signed the guest registry, please do that when you get a chance. At the conclusion tonight, We hope that you'll join family for some light refreshments in the back as well. Tonight we honor, remember, and pay tribute to Dr. Emeka Anaza, our colleague, teacher, faculty advisor, coach, mentor, family member, and friend. Speakers will follow the order of the program, and each will make brief comments, followed by a response from the family. At this time, I would kindly ask Provost Coltman to make the way up to the podium. Thank you for being here, Provost Coltman.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Heather Coltman. I'm the provost here at James Madison University. And on behalf of the leadership of our campus, I'm here tonight to pay our respects to Emeka Anaza and to his family members, his friends, his colleagues, and his students who are all gathered to honor and remember his life. His loss is sorely felt and will continue to be felt across the Hart School, across the College of Business, within the Center for African American Diaspora Studies, and in so many other places on our campus, because Emeka was part of the fabric of our academic lives. Emeka was one of the very first faculty that I met when I came to JMU in 2017. I was introduced to him at Le Gourmet and was immediately struck by his presence. Steady, strong, calm, and warm. My subsequent brief chats with Emeka confirmed my impression of him as a kind and dignified person, as well as a faculty member driven by a passion for mentorship and community building. Emeka's commitment to the growth and success of his students colored everything that he did, and I'd like to share just one example. My administrative assistant in my office, Renee Reed, used to work in human resources. She told me yesterday that Emeka would regularly invite professional staff from HR to speak to his students about preparing to enter the workforce. He wanted his students to hear from real-world professionals as well as from academic experts. Emeka had the humility and the breadth of vision to reach out to JMU's own HR professional staff, who in turn so appreciated his respect for their work. His creativity, empathy, and positivity will long be remembered. I also am sharing a few words from Dean Mike Biesing. He very much regrets that he's unable to be with us this evening, but he wanted me to let you all know that he is here in his thoughts and prayers. Mike shared some memories about Emeka, and I'd like to pass those along to you. Mike said that Emeka was always full of gratitude. For example, in the spring of 2020, Emeka received a much-deserved new laptop computer for his office. Mike recalls how grateful he was to receive this. Mike said Emeka personally thanked him for allowing the resources to be provided and for saying yes to the request. And on a very recent occasion, Mike met with the Hart School faculty, and Emeka again followed up to show his gratitude. Emeka wrote to Mike, "I'm sure you're often thanked. However, this one thank you is different." He thanked Mike for his leadership, his support, his empathy, and his grace. He thanked him for listening and for allowing him to be heard. Mike Biesing says that Emeka was indeed an authentic gentleman. As the dean, Mike, of course, also affirmed that Emeka was an accomplished scholar, teacher, and a good friend to many. We know he will be greatly missed by you, by his other colleagues, faculty, students. We are all deeply thankful for the time that he was here with us at JMU, and we convey our deepest condolences to his family. Thank you for allowing me to share these thoughts.
Dr. Anaza came to the Hart School in 2013 Just 3 years after the new School of Hospitality, Sport, and Recreation Management was formed. Emeka was a vital part of the family that was developing as faculty would eat together in a conference room. He loved to eat, and we've heard many fond stories about tripe and some of his other favorite foods from Nigeria. You could always count on Emeka to eat any leftovers, and we always saved food for him. And in the School of Hospitality Management, he fit in immediately. He had an amazing personality. Some would call it larger than life, and a smile. Faculty and students alike loved to laugh with him, joke with him, and give him a hard time. One of the standing jokes in the Hart School was the banter between Dr. Anaza and Dr. Pate as to whose team would win wheelchair basketball at UREC. Well, Emeka won the first 3, and he made sure everyone was aware. But what many people may not fully realize is the incredible impact that Emeka had on elevating the national and the international reputation of both the school and the SRM program. When Emeka arrived, the school was just beginning to grow and gain an identity, and was not yet named the Hart School. He brought strength, rigor, work ethic, tough love, and a passion for teaching, research, and mentorship. He worked hard, and you could always count on seeing Emeka sitting at his desk when he arrived in the morning, or if you were in the office on the weekend. Emeka loved his research. Last year he took over the graduate level research class, and his eyes would light up when a student showed any interest in research. He had numerous publications, presentations, and he was a great collaborator. We have 3 or 4 alumni who went on to get a PhD in sport and recreation management, partly because of Emeka's mentorship. Thank you, Jacqueline, for training him so well. Emeka loved his students. They did not always appreciate his tough love, but they always respected him, and they were thankful later. He was not only a great teacher, but was an incredible mentor and a coach for students. His push-ups were legendary. He demanded excellence, and he pushed his students to excel. Emeka would meet with each of his students personally during the first half of the semester. 5 minutes would quickly turn to 20 minutes, and then you would suddenly hear roaring laughter from his office, or the student would share some problem that they were experiencing, and Emeka would help them out. Emeka loved his soccer. There was always some trash talking around the offices to the best football club. His team was Arsenal. He coached youth soccer with Shenandoah Valley United, and he loved the kids, and they loved him. A recent letter from one parent described Emeka as engaged, skilled, and inspiring. And if he wasn't coaching soccer, you could count on Emeka to show up at your son or your daughter's game. Emeka loved his family. This evening, when you put your arms around them and love on them, you will see why. Often you would walk into his office and he was on the phone or on a Zoom with a family member. He talked about his family often, and he was planning to travel with his mother this summer. Emeka loved God, and he had a strong faith in Christ. If you get to know his mother, you will see where his faith comes from. When you got into the car with Emeka, he often had on the worship music. He was respectful, gentle, kind, caring, and loving. I did not know this until recently, but the name Emeka is an abbreviation of the Igbo name Chukwuemeka, meaning God has done so much. We thank you for sharing Emeka with us. We are so thankful for him and for what he meant to each one of us. In the fourth paragraph of the letter that Emeka wrote to his students, he defines hope as a critical methodology, described as a backward glance that endorses a bright future vision. Tonight, in our tears and our grief, we glance backward to remember and pay tribute. But the bright future vision ahead is his legacy, the students and people he touched, which speak louder, clearer, and with more emotion than words ever could. God bless you, Emeka. May you rest in peace. We love you.
First, I would like to give my condolences to Dr. Anaza's family, friends, colleagues, and others who are grieving his loss. I'd also like to thank Dr. Sean for inviting me here to speak tonight. My name is Kelsey, and I'm a rising senior here at JMU. I had the honor and privilege of being Dr. Anaza's student, research assistant, and a member of the fraternity he was so proudly the advisor for, Sigma Rho Mu. As a student, having Dr. Anaza as your professor was more than just learning about how to get a career in sport and recreation management. He taught us how to work hard and set high expectations for all of his students because he was better at realizing our potential than we were. During those first few weeks when I began taking Dr. Anaza's class as a sophomore, I was overwhelmed with the expectations he had set for us, and I was worried about how I was to succeed with such a heavy workload. Soon enough, Dr. Anaza made it very clear that in order for us to be successful, we would need to schedule meetings with him outside of class to make sure we were on the same page as him with class activities. I remember the first meeting I had with Dr. Anaza. It was over Zoom, and I was extremely nervous because I wasn't sure how I was doing on my project, and I was prepared for him to tell me that I needed to change everything. That's not at all what happened. Dr. Anaza entered the meeting with the biggest smile on his face and greeted me like I was someone he had known forever. This made me feel like I was more than just a student in his class. It made me feel like I was his friend. He wanted to get to know me better, not just sit there and critique my work. I feel as though I learned so much more about life and being a better person through Dr. Anaza's class, and I'll be forever grateful I had the opportunity to have him as a professor. I've also had the opportunity to work with Dr. Anaza on many things outside of the classroom. I worked alongside Dr. Anaza this past school year, helping him with some of his own research projects, while at the same time developing my research skills. Dr. Anaza believed in me more than I believed in myself. He relied on me to help him with important projects, and his confidence in me allowed me to build more confidence in myself. Last semester, I took on the role of recruitment chair on the executive board of the Sigma Rho Mu fraternity. I was able to grow an even deeper relationship with Dr. Anaza. Dr. Anaza was encouraging, motivating, and supportive of the goals we had set forth for the fraternity. He held so much trust in all the members of the fraternity to carry out the legacy that had been built in 2019. He cared so much for each individual and took the time to get to know each of us so he could better understand our personalities and needs in order to help us move forward. Most members of the fraternity also had the pleasure of having Dr. Anaza as their professor. I reached out to some of our members for words they would use to describe Dr. Anaza, and those are as follows: motivated, determined, strong, approachable, caring, hardworking, a team leader, persistent, driven, inspirational, legendary, honest, ambitious, reliable, funny, trustworthy, and compassionate. I was lucky to have spent my final days with Dr. Anaza on a study abroad trip to London and Dublin. We had a lot of fun while we were there and enjoyed the time we spent with one another. Dr. Anaza was always making me and the others on the trip laugh with his funny jokes and subtle side comments, us never knowing what he was going to say next. It's amazing how easy it was for people to connect with Dr. Anaza just weeks after meeting him. He just had this way about him that made it easy and effortless to speak with him. The Hart School will not be the same without Dr. Anaza, as well as the fraternity without him as our advisor. He will be missed dearly by his students and colleagues in the Hart School. My classmates and I will carry on making Dr. Anaza proud by continuing to work hard and make the most of every day. Thank you.
do my best to get through this. First, I can extend my condolences to the family, and then also to thank Dr. Shaw for extending the invitation for me to pay tribute to my friend, my former doctoral student. So Emeka was the first doctoral student that I had the privilege to mentor. I still remember when we met in 2009. A professor brought me into my office and he had this big smile on his face. And so I just naturally just smiled back. And I remember it was kind of awkward. We're sitting there just smiling at each other. And in the back of my mind, I'm just like, okay, who is this? Coming in my office. And so the professor, even that's, finally introducing Emeka, he said, he's here, he wants to work on a PhD. So I said, okay, tell me a little bit about your research. So we spent a few minutes, him explaining what his research interest was. And then after Emeka left, I went and spoke to Dr. Tainsky because I was just like, okay, you guys caught me off guard, but can you tell me more, about this student? And so he shared information with me. And he really encouraged me. He was like, I think this would be a good student for you. Because he was like, you haven't, and at this point, this was my second year as a professor. And he was like, I think this would be a good student for you to start with. And I'm so glad that I did it. So other professors in here know that working with a doctoral student is a major time commitment. You spend a lot of time with them, but it's also very rewarding. Emeka and I experienced many joys, and let's be honest, some frustrations while working on his dissertation. One of the things that I loved about him was his passion for gender equity. He often talked about how the women in his life did not get some of the same athletic and societal opportunities that he was afforded solely based on gender. And he wanted to do something about this. And so when we talked about this, we talked about his passion. That's when he focused his dissertation on looking at the adoption and enforcement of gender equity policies in Nigeria to help deal with discrimination in athletics. He truly wanted his legacy to be one of being an advocate for gender equality. When he finished his degree, he no longer was my doctoral student. He became one of my good friends. And I am blessed to have had such a beautiful person in my life. I will truly miss his smile, his laugh, his presence, and our conversations. I have a lot of fond memories of Emeka, but for the sake of time, I'll just share a few. So last April, the North American Society for the Sociology of Sport Conference was held in Montreal. And Emeka and I, we always look forward to connecting with each other. And so he asked me if I was going to attend the conference. And I was like, no, sorry, I can't go. And he was so disappointed. So I knew I was going. And he was so disappointed that I actually go like, well, maybe I should tell him that I'm actually going, but I wanted to surprise him. So then I reached out to Gus, Dr. Hoffman, and I told him, I said, you know what, I'm gonna have this little prank on Emeka, and he was all too happy to join in on the fun. So when we arrived in Montreal, Gus called me and we were trying to find each other in the airport. And so Emeka didn't know who Gus was talking to on the phone. And he was getting a little frustrated is what Gus said, because Gus was walking slow because he's trying to stall so we could find each other. And Emeka's getting a little frustrated. So when I finally found them, Emeka's back was to me. And so I go over there and I just kind of bump him. And I can honestly tell you, since 2009, I've never seen Emeka mad. But he kind of turned and he was like, excuse me? And then when he realized who it was, he just gave me this big hug. So we had a small little scene in the airport because he was so happy and just shocked that I was there in Montreal. And so I do thank you, Gus, because that's a memory that I always have. Emeka was family to me. We did not see or speak to each other as much as I think we both would like to, but we were always there for each other when needed. When I adopted my beautiful daughter, Emeka was there. When I flew to Texas to get married, Emeka was there. When he had joys in his life, I was there to talk to him and listen to the excitement in his voice. When he experienced sadness and some frustrations, I was there to listen and to offer some comforting words to him. So some of you have heard the expression, people come into your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. Yes, the reason we initially met was because he wanted to get his PhD, and I was there to offer him the guidance and support he needed to complete his degree. Usually when people come into your life for a reason, as soon as the reason is fulfilled, the relationship is over. But that was not the case with me and Emeka. We became good friends, and it wasn't supposed to be for a season. I believe this was supposed to be a lifetime friendship, and in my heart, it always will be. So a few days before Emeka passed away, I was thinking about him and was planning on calling him when I had a little free time over the weekend. Unfortunately, I was not able to make that call, and I wish that I would have at least sent him a message to tell him I was thinking about him and look forward to catching up soon. And so a lesson learned should be a lesson shared. A lot of us have a lot on our plate, and it sometimes results in us becoming so self-involved. It's easy to get caught up in day-to-day life and lose sight of what's truly important. Working hard is good, but nothing is more important than cultivating our relationship with God and with people that we love and care about. So I will always cherish my memories of Emeka, and I would like to end with a poem that describes how I felt about him or how I viewed him. It's called Beautiful People by Praveen Kumar. I'm thankful for the beautiful people in the world like you. Beautiful faces are those that wear a friendly smile that say I care. Beautiful eyes are those that show the kindness and warmth that glows below. Beautiful lips utter kindly words that soothe the soul like the songs of birds. Beautiful people touch and bless. They inspire hope and happiness. Emeka, you will always be beautiful to me.
Okay. Can y'all hear me in the back? Okay, sorry about that. First, I would like to extend my condolences to the family. Thank you for the opportunity to speak these words. There's so much I could say about Dr. Emeka, but I'm here not only to speak from my voice, but for Eugenia Society, Sisters in Session, and others who could not be here today. I have known Emeka since 2010. And during that time, we've had numerous adventures. From going to sporting events like the Chicago White Sox game, DC United soccer game, and other sport teams and conference presentations. We have done a lot together as a dynamic duo, as I call ourselves. Emeka was an incredible scholar, teacher, brother, son, godfather, and friend. Anyone who met him in life cannot help but to be reminded of his smile. He was both focused and approachable. This served him well in doing various things like organizing the AAAD conference and other committee roles on the JMU campus in the different areas he served. In the wake of his passing, it is most often repeated that the thing that is hard to think about is it feels like someone is missing. As I go around the office, as I see the faces here, something or someone is missing. It speaks to how Emeka brought us so much joy to this campus in our lives. To that point, we feel his parting from this life so strongly today, and even more so tomorrow. As you know, his last trip was with me, my partner, and 14 students to London and Dublin. During that trip, I met with him every night to discuss details of the next day. Those 2 weeks were very great for both of us. I got to hear his heart. I got to cherish those nights, even though my partner was jealous of my romance. She wrote that, not me. She would say, "Why can't I be for meet with you all?" And I would just say, "You can't. This is our special time together, that we get to joke, laugh, and just be so grateful that we got to spend that time together." Those 2 weeks were an incredible time, and those were things that I will cherish. To honor him, I have to think through what I can do to move forward the legacy that Emeka has left. And so, here, the pledge that I will present to you all, so y'all can hold me accountable. Be present for students. And take up space for those that can't take up the space themselves. Provide a voice for them. Speak truth to power for those that can. And to make time for those that are important to us. At this time, all I can say is that I miss him, but I also recognize that his impact not only will live on, but through these pledges, it will live on through me and everyone else that may want to join in on that journey of pledging to move forward the things that Emeka was passionate about. Thank you all for being here and helping him cross over to his next journey. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. I have a poem to share, and then I will read a short remark. How can one say goodbye when memory glows indigo on crimson hearts? How could a gem so precious be so rudely snatched from our delicate necks? Our necks crane to see beyond the walls the sprinter has scaled. Gone. Gone with the gusty winds. Our sides blur. We, now, delirious, stunned, zooming in and out like a swing in the yin-yang. Memories tease wet glory eyes. Reddened eyes gaze through the maze. Dazed by the rude rupture of the storm on a calm morning. Peace we craved. Fate had a different vibe. Nature gave us marigold to nurse. Crown of thorns scratch our skin. The wound nurse, we pat the pain. The non gather, gallant in grief. We bind rather than bend, as discordant notes break our hearts. Time swools in his chime. Dares expand the gulf between us. Heavy sighs hug circles. The Titan has longed muffled with the breeze. His voice rides the wind to crack the ice that froze our orbit. The pelican has taken his final bow. The earth shudders at the split. A grave one has mounted ancestors' podium. We won, They rejoice, two sides of a priceless coin, never to bother again on this side of the pond. Adieu, Amaka. Adieu, Emeka Anaza. You took the sail, you took the sail, you took the sail with you. You took the sail, you took the sail, you took the sail with you to a harbor of no return, to a harbor of no return, to a harbor of no return. You took the sail, you took the sail, you took the sail with you to a harbor of no return, to a harbor of no return, to a harbor of no return. Thank you, David Shaw, for all you've done, for granting me the opportunity to speak at this tribute, and to the Hart School for creating this platform and their tremendous support from June 10 to this day. To lose someone in the community is hard. The loss of someone close is harder. So it is with the demise of Emeka. He was my brother, not biological, but adopted brother. He fondly called me Sister Deroke. He was big brother to my daughter, Oluwatosi, who he advised many times. They still chatted on Thursday before his death. What was part of the conversation that they had? And Tosin had sent me evil smile emoji. And I, replied to her as I don't like it. It's scary, I don't like it. So I became the butt of their jokes. She and Emeka laughed at me once about evil smile emoji. I said, okay. They laughed and laughed at my expense. And they sent laughter emoji to one another. On many fronts, Emeka was there for people. For me, Emeka was there when I had surgery in 2019. He took me to the hospital. Stayed there till I was wheeled out of the bed. He later admitted he was scared. He said to Sister, my heart was doing big. Not sure of the outcome and the words I was going to say to Tosin. He wasn't sure either which way the outcome was going to be. Some things are very memorable. Emeka enjoyed Nigerian home-cooked meals. Bitter beef soup, egusi, ogbono, okra, eba, moi, and so on and so forth. He loved to laugh, but was quick to switch to a frown if you messed up. Family was important to Emeka. So were his friends, collaborators, young minds that he mentored, and various courses in which he assisted others to be better. Emeka was the great hero whose sudden fall troubles the earth. Our minds struggle to accept his transition. I have been imagined scenarios that this sad episode is just a bad dream. I had a nightmare, and I was going to wake up and I will await to a different outcome. Unless I'm wrong. We believing are hurt and traumatized by this irreparable loss. Those in paradise rejoice at his homecoming. They gained a gem that we have lost. Adieu, Emeka. Rest on in the bosom of your Maker. Thank you.
Evening. Mark Nickel, I'm the Director of University Integration here. I'm also a member of the Hart School Advisory Board. And one of the themes that you've heard throughout the celebration of Emeka's life is this commitment he had to the growth and development of our students and the impact that he had on the lives of so many students, his colleagues, his family. I've had a career interest in watching and learning the ways that different individuals challenge and support students. And learning the ways that students become the best version of themselves. As a teaching faculty member, there's a wide variety of ways you can do that, both inside and outside the classroom. I want to share some examples how Emeka chose to make those impacts. Now, the first thing most of us noticed about him when we first met him was he chose to be a light in the lives of our students and share that perpetual smile and lift up every room he was in with this sense of optimism and all the people that he interacted with. Lizzie Nadiello was a grad student and a GA at UREC, and she said this: I really did enjoy that he always had a smile on his face, whether that was in the classroom or on Godwin or at UREC. Even though he was tough in the classroom, he wanted to learn and take something away and ultimately grow as a person. I can confidently say I definitely did, and will forever be grateful for it. And Emeka also, he touched my family in a way. He chose to be an exceptional supporter and encourager for our students to chase their dreams. And my oldest son, Ryan, was a Hart School graduate and was here, graduated in 2017 in the Sport and Recreation program. And he really wanted to get this internship in the Disney College program. And the path to getting there was challenging for him, as we hadn't had a cohort relationship where we sent a group of students there year in and year out. And he learned that it was going to be challenging to make that dream come true. So when he learned that he had to drive to Orlando on his own in a really tight window to go try out for a spot that there are a lot of people vying for, it was Emeka who asked him how important it was to him and said, you need to chase your dream, and that way you'll never regret not trying. Ryan not only got the internship, but he enjoyed it so much he's worked there full-time ever since he graduated. But Emeka was also a role model and model for students how to be a lifelong learner. When he was trying to develop his study abroad trip, he went and consulted with Sasha and the adventure team to discuss the best team building exercises to use for his group. I'm pretty sure he could have done this on his own, but he wanted to include others and perhaps learn some new tricks and ideas, but model that it's okay to ask for help. And Emeka was always looking for new ways to make deep connections with students, both inside and outside the classroom. This is one of the things that really made him exceptional, and how our staff at UREC got to know him so well. One of our hopes when we built the building was these kinds of connections would happen between students and faculty. It wasn't always the case, but Emeka was a poster child for this. He got as much out of it as the students did. He often invited students to join him in his workouts. He played intramural sports with them. He didn't let them win. And he came to students to support them in their clubs and organizations and club sport events and competitions. He was that kind of mentor that lived his life like an open book. Always making room for others to join him and try something new. Through this, he developed a trust with students that allowed him to teach and influence them to expand their horizons. Emeka was such a frequent participant in UREC and became a favorite of many of our student and professional staff. We look forward to his positivity when he came through the door. And Aaron Combs, our Associate Director for Programs, put it this way: that Emeka could be best described as a gentle soul. Every time I observed him within UREC, he was always welcoming our staff and other student participants with a smile. His passion and love for students was clearly evident, and he simply brought joy to the UREC environment. He will be sincerely missed as the days move forward. However, his love for students, UREC, and JMU will have an everlasting impact. To his family and friends who don't live and see his work at JMU every day, I hope that this celebration of Emeka's life has given you a glimpse of the impacts he's had here at JMU. And, I know as a parent who's now an empty nester, when your child leaves the family to pursue their life and career, you first hope they're safe and they use the good judgment we help them develop. But after those fears subside, you hope that they find their people, their value for the gifts that they bring, and that they're loved. I hope you heard today just how much Emeka was valued. He found his people. He was a teacher, a colleague, a mentor, and a friend to so many, and he was loved by all of us at JMU. Rest in peace, my friend.
Thank you all so much. Thank you all so much for being here. I'm a bit nervous and I'm a bit sad. So I will take my time, please. I speak on behalf of my family. My name is Emeka. Emeka is my immediate older brother. And we have family members here. Another brother of ours who grew up in the same house is also here. Another cousin who grew up in the same house is also here. And his in-law is here. My uncle is here. His nieces and nephews are here. And his friends from Carbondale, U of I, are also here. His professors from Carbondale are also here. So I will just read what I wrote. And as a tribute to him, but also to JMU and to this community. Emeka loved being a professor. He truly enjoyed being a teacher. He enjoyed being in the classroom so much. He came alive. He came alive in the classroom. And he was naturally gifted at being a teacher. Some of us, we get better every semester. He had it. He just had it. I don't know how, but he just had it. Students gravitated to him. He didn't run away from them. He went towards them. As a student, he was the typical Nigerian child who migrated to the US. And God forbid, he disappointed his mother, who was a single mom because she had lost her husband. So he wasn't gonna fail her. I was the one that picked him from the airport in St. Louis. And for a year, we stayed in, I don't know what they call self-contained apartment here. It was like a self-contained apartment. He was studious in his education, very serious, and he excelled in school. He was a management undergraduate student, and I would say that he is every professor's ideal student. By the time my brother decided to pursue his doctorate, he was following in my father's footsteps. Many of you don't know, my father's name is John Emeka Anaza. So my brother is also named after my father. When he started his doctoral program at UIUC, like any doctoral program, it tested him. They put him through the ringer. It was a tough program. But good God, he never gave up. Every time his professor would push, he stayed in there. He stayed, you pushed. He kept going, he kept going, he kept going. And he made it. By the time he was ABD, he had several offers. That's not the norm. He had several offers by the time he was ABD. It's just to tell you how exceptional he did as a student and how much people wanted him. I remember he had probably 6 offers, and it was between University of Texas Corpus Christi and JMU. I don't know if you remember this. And he called and he said, "What should I do?" And I said, "Go to Texas." My uncle lives in Texas. There are a lot more Nigerians in Texas. And he said, "No, I want to go to JMU." So he chose your school. He chose you guys. He chose to be here. And that speaks volumes about his choice to be here. He was intentional about this institution from the very beginning of his studies and his career. At JMU, he wanted only the best for his students. He wanted them to have the best classroom experience. He went above and beyond. I'll give you an example. One day, I was at home somewhere. The next thing I know, I get a call. I say, "Amy, how far?" And I hear chatter in the background. And he's in class teaching. And he had his students call me as a trial sales pitch. You're trying to sell me JMU tickets, season tickets. And I had to perform live in front of a class of students. He wanted them to have a great classroom experience. He cheered for them. He was passionate about his students, intensely passionate about them being successful beyond the walls of this institution. He served them so much that sometimes I would say, "Oh boy, you never tire." He served them so much. And that was because he just enjoyed serving the students. He respected his colleagues. He cherished the collegiality they had. I remember when I met Dr. Shunk. I heard Dr. Shunk's name so many times before I met Dr. Shunk. It was like I knew him. he would tell me about how you would go to your, I think, director's house for get-togethers. And he'll say, oh my God, her house is so big. You know, he would talk about, we had the best food, we had the best time. When he came here, he stopped wearing SIU and UIUC gear. You never saw him in the SIU or UIUC gear. He was always in the JMU gear. Now, you know, I have to talk about research. Because not only was he a researcher, he was my co-author. He was the hardest working researcher I knew. He was here Sunday morning, Saturday morning, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Always working on his research. Never tired. When I needed someone to help me, I knew who I could count on. Extremely dependable researcher. He was my brother, but he was also my friend. He read every letter I wrote. Every email I wrote, he read. My letters for professorship, he read every single one of them. He read every single research paper. He made time. He was principled, very disciplined, extremely considerate of everyone. He was a wonderful and caring older brother. He was funny, and he gave the best advice. The best advice. We loved him, but the love he has for us is so deep. You can't find that kind of love. You go, that's my son's picture. That is my son's picture there. That is my son's picture in his office. He has my picture in his office. He loved us so much, so much. And we'll miss him. So I just really want to thank the JMU community. I want to thank the community at large for embracing him, all the little kids he coached, all his students, all his friends. I want to thank him for my family. To your family, thank you for taking care of him and calling him one of your own for the past 10 years.
Yeah, I'm going to assist Emeka to go through the rest of this appreciation. We want to thank especially our Provost, Dr. Heather Coleman, for making time to be here, and also for weighing in all the things we were doing. Dr. David Trump, Program Director, his friend, his colleague, and his lovely wife, yes, from day one. Saturday till today, to back and forth. Picking the task, weighing in on things. Thank you very much. Emeka's many colleagues, Gus is here, Sasha, and our colleagues, sisters in session. Many of them had traveled before this time. Bessie was around, but she had to travel today, Bessie Monja. BJ was on ground, he came several times to the house. The Monja brothers, thank you so much for the notices. especially Dr. Patrick, his wife Tiffany. They did so many things that we cannot list there. The Huntsby actually set up the meal train that people were making different contributions and signing up to bring meals to the house. Various GMU faculty to make numerous donations. Some of them featured on the meal train, some just decided to be anonymous, they were doing their thing in the background. Many friends of Emeka. Some of them are here, Steve, and many of them, they traveled from afar to be here. They've been here before also, this is another time being here. The African community, Cameroonians, Kenyans, Ghanaians, Nigerians, and all that, they turned up. Big family, they turned up. They turned up with their wives, they showed up. They showed up. They showed up. Council Kuka, yeah, you spoke, yeah, I'm sorry. Did I call you? Dr. Jacqueline McDowell, thank you so much. Eric Nickel, thank you very much. JMU students, yeah, they were boots on ground. I think, David mentioned, they wanted to open their GoFundMe page, they wanted to do so many things and all that. We thank them. I don't know all of them, but we are very appreciative. Mama is very appreciative. And the entire members of the family, they appreciate every little thing, every big thing, every weight you lifted. Friends local and abroad, his childhood friends, long-time friends, for making all the trips and making all the contributions. All the kind people who contributed to the meal train and other support. I've mentioned our sisters, the DJ, Dr. Edna Reid, thank you so much. All the administrative staff and faculty members who facilitated various help with HR, paperwork, all kinds of things. We thank you very much. And JMU and Harrisonburg community, you have done this without you. It's a difficult time, but we thank you. Johnny message back for those who are traveling back, and they will not have this kind of episode here in our community. Thank you so much. To hand this song here.
So thank you to all the speakers. We invite you now to join the family. There's refreshments in the back, and thank you so much for being here. Michael, we love you.